Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's head-to-head comparison, let's take a look at the 2025 BMW M340i and the BMW M440i. Now this is a 24-year model. The 25s haven't hit the dealer lots just yet, and there's only some cosmetic changes for the 440 for the 25-year model. So you can at least get a good feel of how this vehicle looks and how it compares with the 340. I borrowed both of these from Hendrick BMW Northlake, so take a look at their website. That link is down in the description below. And let's get into today's video, starting off with the M340i. These have a starting MSRP at $61,600. This is powered by the 3-liter inline 6-cylinder turbo. It's paired to the hybrid motor along with the 8-speed automatic, and it pumps out 386 horsepower, 398 pound-feet of torque, sent through that xDrive all-wheel drive system. For the M440i's, these now have a starting MSRP at $64,600, so slightly more. This is powered by the 3-liter inline 6-cylinder twin power turbo. It's paired to the hybrid motor and 8-speed automatic as well. Now the 24-year model pumps out 382 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. However, for the 25-year model, it matches the 340, 386, 398. This model is also all-wheel drive. However, you can get rear-wheel drive for both of these too. Now we have curb weights of 3,900 pounds for the 340, 4,100 pounds for the 440. 0 to 60 is going to be 4.1 seconds versus 4.5 seconds for the 440. Top speeds, 180 miles an hour for the 340, 155 for the 440. And then as far as fuel economy goes, you're looking at 23 and 31 for the 340, 22 and 29 for the 440. But as we take a look at the front end design, you'll notice we have a much different look, especially with the kidney grills. For the 440i, we have that very large kidney style, along with all the brushed accents for this model. There's the forward-facing camera, all the parking sensors, and then on the 340, we have more of that traditional kidney design, which I know a lot of people are more of a fan of. Both have active grille shutters to provide additional cooling. There's a forward camera on the 340 as well, along with all the parking sensors. You get some larger inlets though in the lower section there. And then we have a pretty similar design for these headlights. The 25-year model will have more of a similar design to the 340 here, but they still look really good nonetheless. And then we have some lines that come down the hood just to give it a subtle touch. So very different up front. And as we work our way to the side, we do have different wheel options, of course, but both of these have the M Sport brakes. They're finished off in blue on the 440 and red on the 340. So you have those two color options for both of these, and the wheel options are much different too. Now on the 440, there's this trim accent that is functional. So hopefully you can see right through there, and it goes all the way to the back door. There's no trim accent on the 340 there. This model also has the brushed accent for the power folding side mirrors with the camera and the turn signal. And of course, some of these are going to be options depending on how you spec these. Now this 340 also has a sunroof. There's also a sunroof on the 440 here. And as we take a step back, you'll notice that the door handles are actually much different. For the 440, they've moved to this more flush design versus the traditional door handles on the 340 there. And then we do have some similar body angles. We have a little bit of a different design for this back window here. So it's more of a point versus being rounded off on the 340. But overall, they have a similar look to them, but you'll notice that the roofline is much different on the 440, and that is because you can open up this trunk differently, which we'll get to here soon. Now in back, there's the backup camera. The new taillights are going to be a little bit different, but again, overall, it's pretty much the same. There's a dual exhaust down below, all the parking sensors gloss black. And then as we work our way to the cargo space, here's our biggest difference. The entire glass opens up. So this gives you more of that hatchback design where you can fit in quite a lot. You can fold the back seats down, you can remove this cover. There's no storage or spare underneath the floor, but you have some bins and tie-down hooks. With this large opening, you could fit in bicycles, something odd like that. Just makes it a little bit more practical. Now, as we work our way to the 340, the backup camera is not in the badge itself. There's also gloss black down below, dual exhaust, all the parking sensors, and a different design for the taillights, of course. And then when we open up this trunk lid, it opens like a traditional one. So we have a much smaller opening. You can still fold the seats down, no storage, no spare. It's kind of similar in that area, but you wouldn't be able to fit in some larger items like you could on the 440. So let's work our way to the interior now, where we have the proximity door handle there. And then interior colors are going to vary depending on your preference. But this has Harman Kardon, all the brushed accents. There's also storage down below. And then as we hop into the back, at 5'10", it's not all that bad. There are storage nets. You have some vents, some climate adjustments, auxiliaries in the lower section. And then my head is just touching the headliner here. So I can still sit upright. Even with the shape of this roofline, I could fit comfortably in the back. You can also pull the armrest down where there's two cup holders there. You can fold down this middle seat. And then you do have a little bit of a pillar with this headrest right there, but you have the windows on both sides there where you can easily look around. So let's work our way to the 340 now, where we have the proximity door handle so you can unlock and lock it from the back. And then we have a different design for this door panel. We have the interior lighting for this model, some brushed accents, storage in that lower section. And then hopping into this, you lose these storage nets. So there's none behind the seats, but we have identical controls right in the middle. And then at my height, 5'10", it's about the same. It's kind of what you would expect from the 440 there. Right in the middle, we also have the same layout with the cup holders there. You can fold this middle seat down. And then we have a much different view here since that glass is not in the same spot. So we have a little bit thinner of a pillar for the 340 here. Well, let's work our way up front. I have a full detailed review on this 340 if you'd like to see that. We've also reviewed 440s in the past. So I'll go through this pretty quickly. You can take a look at those videos in greater details. Power folding side mirrors, there's your memory seating adjustments, trunk release. You have more of that interior lighting. And then as we hop in, there's the flat bottom design for the steering wheel with these spokes on it. Well, let's start this up though. We have the brushed aluminum accents. You have all of your audio adjustments, cruise control settings. You can also go through a lot of content within the digital gauge cluster. And then you do have a layout as well. Now this model is missing a head-up display, which is an option you can get. There's no storage. You have your headlight adjustments, an air vent there. And then with the infotainment system, you have quite a lot that you can get into. You have all of your icons for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and then you have your heated seats, heated steering wheel, temperature adjustments that you can get into. You have power and volume, some defrosters, wireless charging, auxiliaries, and cup holders. There's also shortcuts for that screen. And this model has the 360 camera system. You have automatic parking, the backup assistance, all of the views that you would expect to see with that system. And then you do have a few different driving modes. So you can go from sport to comfort to eco. You get a little bit of storage with auxiliaries in the armrest there, as well as down in the glove box. There's garage door buttons up top, and then you have adjustments for the sunshade and sunroof, as those are both power operating. And then here's a look at visibility. Remember this corner here because it's a little bit different in the 440. But you can still see over both shoulders there, so it's really easy to see. And then let's work our way to the 440 now. Now, once we hop inside, you'll notice there's a much different design for the door panel. Still retains memory seats, as well as the power side mirrors. Liftgate release is in the back there. And then the biggest difference with this, the 25-year model will have the flat bottom design. So it's going to be nearly identical to the 340 we were just in. Everything else, though, is unchanged. Now, this is a heated steering wheel. We have cruise control settings. For this gauge cluster, we have all of the content, just like you saw in the 340. There's the layout, and then if the 340 had the head-up display, this is what you would see. So you can go through a few different options there, depending on what you would like to have. Now, same thing goes over here, no storage. You have your headlight adjustments, there's an air vent. It should have that same design as the 340, so the air vents will be changed. And then the infotainment system is going to be very similar to the 340 we were just in. So this is the older style, going through the widgets this way with the information on the left, but it will be identical to the 340 with going through everything in the lower section. But you're still going to have pretty much everything that you see right here. Now there's air vents underneath that. We have the same adjustments, wireless charging, same thing that you get on the 340, same controls here. We have the same 360 camera system, so all of that is going to be identical, of course. And then the driving modes, just like in the 340. And then everything else here is a mirror image as far as the storage goes, garage door buttons up top, and then the sunroof and sunshade. Now here is a difference right here, where we have that window and the headrest in the way there. So it's just a little bit different than in the 340, but you can still see over that left side as well. So with the exteriors and interiors wrapped up for the 440 and the 340, let's get both of these out on the road and see how they compare. So let's start off behind the wheel for the M440i. I have it in sport mode, and we can give it a minor acceleration here. Nothing too crazy for today. This will be a short test drive, but we have full reviews on both of these models, so you can check those out if you want to see more driving impressions. But the 440 is definitely a nice sedan. The biggest difference is that we have more of that hatchback design. So essentially, we are driving the 340 just with a little bit different exterior look, as well as the functionality of that back. So if you're looking for a sedan, but you want something a little bit more practical, you don't like the design of a hatchback, the 440 kind of gives you the best of both worlds with that. It also sounds good too. It pretty much feels like I'm in the 340. It's going to give you good power, especially for the 25-year model, and a really nice luxury-focused vehicle. It's very comfortable, quiet. The driving modes are all functional, so if you want a little bit more sporty feel, you can put into sport mode versus comfort or eco. Brakes do a good job too, and it's going to handle very well. So it is a fun option to go with, one that I didn't even think about comparing it to the 340. The 340 seems to be the go-to sedan in that market. The 440, I feel like, kind of gets left out of it, when essentially this is the same car. So let's go ahead and hop into the 340. And in the 340 sport mode, here we go. Now it basically sounds the exact same as the 440i. Paddles are the same. This is the steering wheel that you will see in the 25 440. So we are essentially driving the same car. It's interesting to see that BMW has kind of a competitor to the 340. I don't think a lot of people are cross-shopping this with the 440 though. Let me know your thoughts if you've been looking at both of them, because the 440 to me, again, kind of just goes into the background. When you think of the performance versions, you think M340, M3, you don't really think of the M440i. At least in my opinion and what I've seen, the 340 seems to be a lot more popular, especially with all of you viewers and owners as well. So we're essentially in the same car. It's going to drive the same, give you that luxury vibe. The only thing is just the exterior and visibility, really. There's just a little difference, especially the grille up front, and then just with the body lines for the sedan versus more of that hatch. But it's a fun vehicle. It gives you a lot of options too. Both of these have a lot of options depending on how you'd like to spec them. But we're in two all-wheel drive models today. And so you have a really nice luxury-focused and sporty sedan that's on the smaller side. So it's going to be more nimble, handle better, and just give you a smaller platform to drive. So back from our test drives now with the M340 and the M440i. Honestly, I really don't see a difference between both of these models. So it's interesting that you can get one that has a much different exterior design than the other, one that's going to be a little bit more of a hatchback versus the traditional sedan. And I think that's why I see a lot more of the 340s. Maybe people don't like that larger kidney grille on the 440, but I do like the extra practicality that you get with the 440 over the 340 as far as putting in larger items and making it that much more practical. You are still going to get the same vehicle. We have the same outputs and horsepower and torque, pretty much the same car. It drives, it's going to be a little bit heavier with the 440i, and I think maybe because of the design, but overall, you can't really go wrong with either one. So do you need a little bit more storage, or do you like the sedan and you like that more subtle grille, I'll say, for the 340? So comment down below, let me know, would you go with the M340i or the M440i? Give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.